Welcome back to Rosalind's Kitchen. Tonight we are making garlic and lemon-crusted salmon. So hopefully it will be good. And I just lost my little thing that I clipped it up with. You know, I hate it when I do that. Anyway, I'll be right back. I think our resident ghost ran off with it. Emily does that sort of thing, because I literally just set it down on here, and it is nowhere to be seen anymore. So, evidently, Emily is playing games again. So anyway, we have our salmon. We have 4 ounces of light cream. We have a lemon. Yes, I'm going to have to zest this thing. We have garlic, shallot, grape tomatoes, and kale. Now, I like half the kale and half because we really don't need that much kale. My dad will probably look at it and go, So anyway, a little kale goes a long way. Now, let's get started. Put this down, get this out of the way. All right, the first thing I am to do is I am to slice my garlic very thin. And I'm looking for my glove. There it is. Slice the garlic very, very thin. And then I'm going to like roast it or cook it. Remember how I had garlic chips the last time? Well, this time I'm going to make my garlic chips, apparently. So, once I get my glove unfolded here, we will start. Okay. Okay, so take my garlic. And it's very important to have the glove, especially when you're working with something as small as a clove of garlic. Let me cut off the end here. Okay, there we go. There is my garlic. Yay! Now I'm going to be roasting that. Now it says while it's roasting I'm to make the other ingredients, but I have found that it's better to get it all together at the same time. So, okay, the next thing I need to do is slice my shallot very thin. So that means cutting off the, come back here, you. There we go. And I don't know why, but I just suddenly got thinking about a channel on YouTube that I like to watch called Movies Explained For. Now, as long as he's doing old movies, he's hysterical. I love it. But every now and then he gets to doing other movies. He's not so good at that. But I don't know why I just got thinking about that just now. Just weirdness, I guess. All right, now slice the shallot thinly, which is why we are using the mandolin. We also should, like within the next week or so, be getting a meat grinder. Now, why do I want a meat grinder, you may ask? Because I'd like to be able to order steaks again, and I need to be able to make the steaks so that they can be eaten by my dad without him choking on them, because they're too tough. All right, shallots. There. All right, now I am to zest, dun, 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 the lemon. So, I'll be right back. All right, so I need half a teaspoon of lemon zest, and that should be sufficient. I have to say this is one of the thinner skinned lemons I've ever seen. I mean, just a few scrapes and boom, I'm down to juice, so it's different. So now that I've zested my lemon and I've sliced my shallot, now I am supposed to stem and coarse cut my kale. So now the thing about things like this, they don't exactly tell you what they mean by stem and coarse cut. Because some things, you know, it's not considered the stem, and some things it is. I consider that the stem. Whether that's the right or not, I don't know. But that's what I'm doing. I'm cutting that thing off, and then I will cut up the kale afterwards. Like I said, I greatly reduced the amount of kale that we're going to be fixing tonight because I know my father. And I have to admit, I'm not a big kale eater myself, which I should be because there are a lot of nutrients in kale. But it's still kale, you know? You just can't get around the fact that kale is kale. So, it's beautiful for decorating plates, but not necessarily something I really want to eat. But eating well, eating things that are good for us is kind of my New Year's resolution, even though it is at this time March. Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, so the luck of the Irish be with ye. I should be making something with, like, corned beef tomorrow in honor of it, but I'm afraid it's going to be a burger. A unique burger, a burger that I've never made before, but it's going to be a burger, so life is just like that. I don't know if I actually got that out there. So, quit it. My kale is fighting back. Kind of like the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Any of you ever seen that movie? If you haven't, you need to watch it at least once, just for the sheer WTF. It's a movie about the tomatoes deciding that they're going to attack everybody and kill them. You see a woman being attacked by tomatoes in a pool. And the funniest thing is a tomato with earmuffs on its little head, you know, like this, so that it can't hear the killing music. Anyway, so let me coarse chop this stuff. They don't exactly tell you what coarse chop is either. It's one of those things in life that you just have to kind of figure it out as you go along. What do they mean? I don't know what they mean. And without Andy here to tell me what they mean, I just have to go along. Oh, I almost forgot. My father is going to be doing some cooking. Don't expect him to upload a video because That's just not his thing. But I'm hoping that maybe we'll eventually get around to him having a video. I might upload it onto my channel. So, hopefully, because I think that would be cool. My father is very photogenic, and he's hysterical when he wants to be. And I think he'd be great, probably better than I am at this. All right, so my little pile of kale just turned into a big pile of kale. Let me get a bowl for my kale. All right, the last thing is to half my tomatoes. And looking up here, it looks like they're being cut lengthwise if they don't roll away. Okay, so have a bowl, we'll fill. Move the bowl off to the side. I'm using a smaller knife, a paring knife, because, well, for one thing, it's easier to control, and also because my paring knives are a little bit sharper than some of my bigger knives, and that means that they will cut the tomatoes better. Did you know that years ago tomatoes were considered poisonous? Because in a way they are. They're part of the deadly nightshade family. The leaves are deadly. The tomato, the fruit, is not. It's very good, especially on sandwiches. But that just kind of tickled me when I discovered that the tomato was for many years considered poisonous and no one would eat it. And I forget who it was and how the guy managed to get people to eat the tomato, but it was one of those things I saw on Mysteries in the Museum. I watch those things a lot because they're a lot of fun. Even though they sometimes stretch the point, they'll start with an item. Well, they'll start with a story that they want to tell. Then they find an item that they can loosely link with the story, and then they tell the story. It's like, okay. It's like they wanted to tell a story about a young lady that got lost in the Amazon, and so they had a bird that was from the Amazon that might have been around when she was lost, and so they linked her story to the bird. It was really kind of weird. My dad and I watched it, and my dad at the end of that one said, "What did the bird have to do with her?" Not a lot. It was just a way for them to, a method for their madness. All right, so I have now cut up my shallot, my tomatoes, my kale, my garlic, and my lemon zest. Now, I was supposed to cut the lemons into fourths, but since neither my father nor I are going to put any lemon on our food, I'm just going to use those, dipping them in salt and putting them in a bowl in my bathroom to absorb bad odors. All right, so now let us, I have not, tisk tisk, I still have to pat dry and season my salmon. That would never do to forget the main point of this whole meal. My brain has not been with me lately. I'm sorry. So, hang on. All right, so now I need to put about 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt on my salmon. I'm just using this because unfortunately, all my spoons are in the dishwasher or waiting to be washed. And then I worked at Cracker Barrel today, so this kind of threw my Saturday schedule off. There we go. So salted and peppered. And now we're ready to start cooking. A little bit of a difference here. Normally I put the pan over the heat and then I put the food in. But this time it says to put the garlic in the pan first with the oil. In a single layer. See? And now put it over medium heat. And as soon as it starts to bubble, I am to turn it down and then let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes until it gets golden brown. And then I put it on a towel-lined plate and let it cool. And I reserve the oil in the pan. Okay, so we need to wait till it starts bubbling. All right, so it is bubbling. Can you see it bubbling? I can't seem to get my thing. There, see? All right, so now that it's bubbling, I need to let it cook. And then I will remove it and put it on a plate so that it can be ready for later. All right, so my garlic is brown now. Now, I'm going to heat up a pan and add oil and my salmon to the pan once it's hot. And then we're going to cook it. Alright, so now I'm going to add my salmon. Let me make sure that it's skin side up. And it says to let it cook for 4 to 6 minutes per side. So we're going to go 4 minutes on this side, and then we'll turn it over. Aren't those pretty salmon fillets? Yep. Now we cook them 4 minutes on the other side. All right, so now I take my zest and I put it on the top of my salmon. And then I take my crispy garlic and I put it on the top with it. There, see? Okay, fine. Okay, now I'm going to put this plate in the oven to keep warm, which hopefully my oven will keep it warm. Now, put this back up. I take the plate that I had, the one that I cooked put a little oil in there. Then I cooked the garlic in, and now I put that to medium-high heat, get it hot, and then I will add the shallot to it and cook those until they soften, after which I will add the cream and the water and the kale and a little bit of salt. Cream. And bring it to a boil. Gotcha. All right, once it starts to boil, I will add the kale and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I found 1/4 teaspoon. It got put in the wrong place. It's life. What can I say? Anyway, and then okay, boil. Now I will add my salt and my kale. And now I need to let it wilt and thicken. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, but when you're trying to cook kale, it's like all over the place. And then suddenly it isn't. You know? It's very odd. It's kale. What can I say? Mix you up in there. And give it about 3 minutes, I think. It says 4 to 5, but I've already been poking at it for at least a couple minutes, so. And then we will move on. Alright, so now I return the pan that I used to cook the salmon back over the heat. And this time it's high heat. And this is what I'm going to cook the tomatoes in. So, let it heat up a little bit. And then we will go from there. Alright, so I've added my tomatoes. Now I gotta let them cook until they're a little charred, it says. It says about 2 to 3 minutes. I set it for 2. So, and then I will salt and pepper them. Alright, so here's what it's supposed to look like. Here is what it does look like. Let's see what it tastes like. Alright, so tonight's meal came out pretty good. The salmon was good. As I predicted, my dad was not impressed with the kale. It was okay with me. It wasn't like, wow, kale! But anyway, it was pretty good. So tomorrow I will see you for the unusual burgers. Till then, bye!